Good morning, my friends. It's high noon over here in England, so I'm doing as the English do. I have my cup of tea here, working on my pinky work. It's yummy. We've been here about 5 days now, and just been contemplating a lot about what it looks like having just left ministry. I've been in for 6 years, going to be over here 1 year of ministry. And I wanted to talk to you today about the idea of leading like you're leaving. Leading like you're leaving. Have you ever noticed that you may have tons of stuff on your to-do list? It's hectic, you can't get around to get anything done, but then when you're ready to go on vacation, when you have something to do, you have a deadline, all of a sudden it's like everything kicks in gear, you get laser focused, and you can somehow magically become crazy effective, and pretty soon your inbox is clear, you've returned all your calls, your desk is nice and tidy, you get home, you wash the dog, you do everything that you have to do, and boom, you're out the door, and somehow it all gets done and everything gets handled. But there's something about a deadline that allows us to be crazy effective. And even things that we've tactically avoided maybe for weeks or even months, we find out we actually do our best work. So to lead as if you are leaving, what would that look like? I have two main things that I think, having just left and think, man, what would I have done differently had I known that I was leaving from the beginning? Where would I have started? Where would I have put my energy? And then also coming here to Fresh Ground in London, knowing that maybe there's a timeline not too far away. How am I most effective? How can I most do what God has called me to do? And there's two things. The first one is this. I know you got your notepad out, so go ahead, scribble it down. The first one is this: develop over doing. Develop over doing. Sometimes we as leaders, we get caught up in the mindset of just do, perform, task-oriented, knocking things out. We feel effective and we run around and we are busy and we're crazy busy. But the truth is, developing is so much more important, that it's so much more about the right people, that if you can get the right people, train and develop, invest in the right people, they will actually make the right decisions and your organization will go in the right direction. So it's really about stepping back, not feeling like you have to do so much in and of yourself, but investing in people, delegating to people. And you actually want to try to replace yourself. It seems counterintuitive to train people up who can do what you do, maybe even better than you can do it, but it's actually the most effective way. And that allows you to really do what only you can do. A lot of you leaders, you have a vision, you have something that makes you valuable to your organization, but a lot of times we spend our time doing things that really anybody could do instead of investing in the things that would really move the mission forward the most. And what I've realized is that if we don't delegate, if we don't develop other people, if we're just consumed with do, a lot of times we get stuck in handling the most urgent as opposed to the most important. Right? We get running around putting out fires, and we do that for days, weeks, and months, and all of a sudden we look up and we haven't developed anybody. We have no one around us. We're burnt out. We're tired because the important things, the strategic things, we haven't gotten around to do, right? We only have so much time. We only have so much bandwidth, only so much resource. And so I just want to encourage you, number one, to if you are leading as if you are leaving, that you want to develop people, that you want to raise people up. So the first one was develop over doing. The second one is this: legacy over popularity. Legacy over popularity. A lot of times as leaders, we get caught up in the fact that it's all about us, our decisions, what we're going to do. But the truth is, any ministry, any organization, any mission that's worth running after, it's bigger than you. It's bigger than one person. And our goal is to build something that lasts. To have something that outlasts us, that's bigger than one person's name or their charisma. And so we really have to, if you're leading as if you're leaving, you want to care more about the mission, more about the legacy than what people think of you. If you're short-sighted, then you want to please people, you want to be loved, you want to have popularity, but popularity oftentimes flies in the face overall of legacy. If you're worried about popularity, a lot of times you will shy away from the really hard, important decisions. you allow the negative comments and complaints to call you to pull back and to shy away from where you really feel like you need to go, where the organization really needs to go. Someone who was amazing at this was Jesus. He came to earth and he knew he had a limited time frame. He was only going to be here for 33 years, and he knew there was a cross awaiting him, and he only had so much time to get done what he needed to do. And what's beautiful is you see that though he was active, though he was pursuing a mission, he brought other people along and he developed them, because he knew his time was coming where he was going away, and he had to leave some people who were prepared, who knew his heart, and who could follow through with the kingdom initiative in this world. And so he brought along 12 disciples. And what's crazy is even early in his ministry, it says he actually surpassed baptizing John the Baptist, the dude who was known for baptizing. It says that Jesus and his disciples were baptizing more. Why? Because he had 12 other dudes dunking people in the river with him. And so he grasped this idea that it's not about just me do, but it's about sending people out who had the same character, the same spirit, that same idea. And he did what only he could do, which was sacrifice himself for the sins of the world. But he was free to let leadership move and propel the mission forward. You also see the idea that he wasn't overly concerned with his popularity. Oftentimes when crowds would come near, he would shout something out crazy where a lot of them had to rethink what they were doing. Actually said that the majority of them went home. He would call out the religious leaders. He would go into the temple and flip things over. And ultimately he knew that there was a legacy, that he was revealing the heart of God, and that his legacy while he was there was ultimately what was more important, and it wasn't as much as how people thought one day. He even said, I don't trust my heart to the minds of men because they're fickle. And so Jesus had this very clear idea that I have to lead like I'm leaving, and so I'm much more concerned with what I'm leaving behind than how people feel in the moment. And so what I just want to encourage you is take nothing and no one for granted. Realize that you are called to steward this moment, and so you need to do what only you can do. Feel free to not overwork yourself, but develop people, raise people up, and keep in mind the legacy. And let's lead as if someday we're going to be held accountable for all this, because I promise you we are. God bless you. I love you. Jesus loves you, and that changes everything.